Hello, welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. We have 3 stories for you today. Boss told me I couldn't take a smoke break if I wasn't smoking. Landlord texts at 11 p.m. on the 4th of July asking for rent. And you want me to work at full capacity? No problem. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Alright, let's get started. Our first story. Boss told me I couldn't take a smoke break if I wasn't smoking. I first started working at 17 as a housekeeper, cleaning condos in downtown Toronto. It wasn't a bad gig. The building was under construction, finishing units and such, so there was quite a bit of dust, but other than that, it was fairly easy work, and at the time I was getting above minimum wage. I was the only cleaner in the building, but I was good friends with the security guards and would hang out with them on most of my breaks. They were all smokers, and I noticed that they were taking small breaks, so if I happened to be near them when they were taking a smoke break, I would hang out with them. My boss was a sweet guy, but he did casually mention that the smoke breaks were for smokers only, and I couldn't just hang out with them. The next break I had, I sat down with the security guards, and they joked that I should just have a cigarette in my hand but not actually smoke it. That's when I decided to be a little bit creative with my malicious compliance. The next day, I came into work with a small pack of sparklers. I kept them in my pocket, and when I saw the security guards taking a smoke break, I went out with them, pulled out a sparkler, lit it up, and just kind of stood there with them as the sparkler went off. We all had a good chuckle about it. The boss saw me and came outside, probably to talk to me about not taking a smoke break if I wasn't a smoker, but he saw the sparkler in my hand. The security guards pointed out that technically I was smoking, as the sparkler was producing little bits of smoke. The boss laughed it off, apologized, and said that as long as I get my work done, I can take smoke breaks with the others with or without the sparklers. Our next story. Landlord texts at 11 p.m. on the 4th of July asking for rent. I used to live in a house owned and managed by a landlord. The lease had a policy that said rent was due within 4 days of the first of the month. Both the landlord and the property were in the same city, so we would typically just mail the check the week before, which gave it plenty of time. So month 10 of our 12-month lease comes around, and after enjoying the festivities of the 4th of July, which was a Monday this year, I get a text from the landlord at 11:20 p.m. saying, "Hey tenants, I just wanted to let you know that I haven't received your rent in the 4-day grace period that it is due, from the 1st of every month to 12 a.m. on the 4th. Please give me a call ASAP to arrange payment. Thank you." 12 a.m. on the 4th being almost 23 hours ago notwithstanding, I'm thinking this is the most American thing to happen on Independence Day. I see this text around 11:40 p.m., so I immediately call, offering my sincere apologies that we could not get mail delivered on a national holiday, and if he would kindly provide his bank routing number, I could wire him the rent money electronically. The landlord then made some excuse like, "I'll give you one extra grace period day just this once," but if he was going to interrupt my holiday then I was sure going to interrupt his. And guess what was sitting in his mailbox the morning of the 5th? And our last story. You want me to work at full capacity? No problem. Can you tell my colleagues to say goodbye to their bonuses? Thanks. I work in a help desk call center as a first-line agent, on purpose. My job is easy, we work from home, where users can call, email, or chat with us, and we fix their most basic computer problems, which are often resolved by a restart or a redeployment of some sort. I took this job on purpose to get away from a very stressful career that killed my social life and, frankly, my will to live. This job costs me exactly zero energy, giving me the space and energy to have the social life I've always dreamed of. The pay in this job is based on the languages you provide assistance in, and because of my language skills, and a promotion I'm not allowed to tell my colleagues about, I make more than anyone else in my team. For this simple reason, I refuse to take any promotions that bring more stress but are not financially compensated, causing me to have worked in first line for almost 3 years now while most of my colleagues have had promotions. Because this company has a huge turnover, I often get new colleagues or managers. I usually train the new colleagues and have a friendly, cordial relationship with the managers, but I always try to stay private and reserved as much as possible to save all my energy for after-work activities. Most days I don't talk to anyone. I log in and work on the tickets, calls, and emails for 50% of the time while studying, reading, watching movies, or listening to music the rest of the time. What's important to know for this story is that we can get a bonus of up to 10% of our monthly income depending on our productivity. I always get the 10%, but for some newer colleagues, it's difficult because the limits are pretty high. If I like a colleague, I will sometimes help them by closing tickets in their name. I also usually take the more challenging tickets and leave the easier ones for the newer team members. A further bit of information is that the company I work for has a help desk for 12 languages, so to cover all the languages we have a team of 8. So now to the malicious compliance. One of the people I trained became the new team leader, which I actually encouraged. The guy is exactly the manager type and understands the job. Unfortunately, the pressure from the operations manager, OM, got to him, and he started checking our stats, noticing that for about 4 hours per day there is no activity from me. I explained to him that this is on purpose to give everyone a chance to get their bonus and that my output is still higher than anyone else's in the team. He also noticed that I sometimes close tickets in my colleague's name, for which I couldn't give him the real reason because it's a sort of fraud. I just told him I rush sometimes and just don't notice. He told me there would be no more relaxing times and no more closing tickets in other people's names. He actually said he would be checking up on me to make sure I worked the full 8 hours I'm paid for. I explained to him that this was a very bad idea, that the team is doing really well, and the current status quo is perfectly balanced, and he shouldn't upset it, but he was young and reckless. Fine. For the next 2 months, I worked at full capacity. Where normally there was a good balance between closing tickets and everyone getting a fair shot at their bonus, now all of a sudden, I did about 70% of the work, leaving very little for my colleagues, who, except for one, both months didn't qualify for their bonuses, causing huge conflicts in the team. I tried to stay out of it but was soon accused of stealing all my colleagues' tickets and not giving them a chance to earn their bonuses. I replied professionally to all the accusations via email, making sure to CC all relevant managers, including the OM. After 2 months, our new team leader was reassigned, and the status quo returned as it was. Well, that's all for this video. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one.